all of a sudden the hall seemed surprisingly empty. So I won a prize, and I can't cash it because the cashier is gone.
Куда он подевался?
Where did he go? The thumping music. Dum dum dum.
Не знаю.
I don't know. Brian carefully came to the counter and knocked on the table with the knuckles. They heard someone shabbling behind the bamboo curtains. Someone made a loud brat out and froze. The game machines were beeping unceasingly. The signboard lights became strangely weak, while the devouring darkness sneaked into the hall. It's as if I'm reading you guys a book.
Эй, здесь кто-нибудь есть?
Hello? Anybody here? No reply followed.
Ладно, пойдем по домам. Не хочу ждать этого фрика.
Alright! Let's bounce! I don't want to wait for this freak. Hi everyone, welcome back to my gaming channel. My name is Roxanne. Today we're going to play the demo of Pink Noise. It's a visual novel, a horror visual novel. I have never played a visual novel, so this is my first time checking this out. So, let's go! Act 1, along shady alleys. It's supposed to be a 90s horror, or a inspiration on that, summer horror, so I'm curious. I love the graphics. I saw it in the subreddit, Girl Gamers, and I was like, I want to check this out. Fall came to Riverwood, with cold winds and the first drizzle. Narrow streets were wrapped in the mist, clinging to rooftops, tangling in the bushes, and swirling around fields. Auto reading, story, unavailable. Okay, so hide, or do I press something? Oh, okay, space battle. Along with the drizzle, blackness suited the suburb that nestled among forest and mountains. It was a decaying, quiet place waiting for winter to come. I really like the lines here. So literary, poetic. I love narrative games, so visual novels should be something that's up my alley. But hey, I like to do whatever I can and whatever that is interesting to me. As the evening wore on, the town was getting wrapped in thickening twilight, with only a few streetlights serving as the sole islands of light in the ocean of darkness. During such an evening, ordinary and cold, 4 teenagers were strolling around an old park, holding a lively discussion. I wonder if we're gonna hear their voices or not. The first fallen leaves were rustling under their feet. Meanwhile, bare branches, as if mourning the loss of their vibrant attire, were creaking drawlingly and plaintively in the wind. One of the girls jumped into a blur of obscure light cast by an old street lamp.
Не поймали.
Ain't gonna catch me. Oh, what language is this? As the only one to perceive them, Eva wiped shadow webs of her cardigan. She glanced at the overgrown bushes, which had long forgotten the care of gardening shears.
Сегодня без ужина, чудище.
No chow time tonight, beasts. Sounds Russian? I think it was Russian. The other girl scoffed at her friend's silly gestures.
Будь Брайан таким же ловким, нам не пришлось бы торчать в школе до ночи. Кабинет химии еще никогда не был таким чистым, как после сегодняшней уборки.
If Brian was as agile, we wouldn't have stuck in the school till night. The chemistry room's never been as tidy as after today's cleaning. She demonstrated her fingers, wrinkled because of hot water and red palms.
Я ж не виноват, что миссис Хоупстоун не потрудилась сохранить достаточно зубов, чтобы не шепелявить и плеваться, а внятно объяснить, что бутылку нужно было оставить открытой.
Don't understand a word of what he's saying, but I like just the way how everything sounds. It wasn't my bad Mrs. Hopestone hadn't saved enough tea to avoid lisping and spitting. Instead, she should explain clearly the bottle must have been left open.
Вообще-то объяснила. Но ты положил медицинский спирт не одну таблетку хлора, а 3. Ясное дело, что реакция пошла более бурная.
The girl here looking like she's bored as hell. Actually, she'd explained. But you still put 3 chlorine tablets into rubbing alcohol instead of 1. No surprise the reaction was more extreme.
Ну и хлопок удался что надо. У меня до сих пор в левом ухе звенит.
Okay, so that's Ashley talking now, I guess. Yeah, the band was something else. My left ear is still ringing. Eva nodded, catching the blur of light. It was the first reprimand ever received during the whole school time. Surely she would have gotten much more upset with it if it was not Brian's fault, but still.
Ладно, ладно.
So this is then Brian, I guess. I'd. He lifted up his hands in an apologetic
В
gesture.
следующий раз, когда снова будем работать в команде, я вас не подведу. Положу 2 таблетки хлора.
They talk so fast! Next time we team up, I won't let you down. I'll put 2 chlorine tablets. The group passed by a row of houses that were dissimilar? I'm not a native English speaker, so dissimilar to one another, and it was ever possible in the suburb. The orange windows of the time-worn houses glowed faintly, as though the light itself had aged and could no longer disperse the thickening darkness. The buildings they were walking past seemed to be contests in neglect. Every other resident could be easily considered an eccentric of the town. Well, there's someone here looking at us, creepy old fucker, I guess. For instance, Greybone used to leave a rusty mower on the doorstep, which she was leaning on instead of a cane for 2 decades. The abandoned duplex across the road was still keeping the scars of old fire. Its windows were boarded up. Even during the day, this place had a miserable look, so the teens kept their distance. Something's going to happen in one of these houses, right? And with the teens. I also love the silent, just, I don't know, like, it's the music, it's like a river just slowly going with the stream. It's the rhythm of the music, I like that.
О, дом миссис Харвиц.
Oh, Mrs. Harvard's house. The gloomy old lady had knitted another pear-shaped cat and exhibited it on the entrance, thus growing her ugly army. Well, it's cute, actually.
Точно. Ты же заходила к ней на чай. Малыш что, не извинился?
Right, you had a cup of tea together. Did little Tony apologize? Once Eva's brother had taken one of those cats and brought it home, neither mother nor father had drawn their attention to this. As an older sister, she had been supposed to explain the sin of taking other people's belongings.
Извинялась я, а миссис Харвиц не сказала ни слова, только холодно смотрела на нас и громко сопела. И так перепугала бедолагу Тони, что он потом не мог уснуть полночи.
I was the one to apologize. Mrs. Harvest didn't say a word. She only gave us a cold stare and sniffed loudly. She scared poor Tony so much that he couldn't fall asleep for half a
Ты
night.
же так печешься о брате. Растишь, наверное, настоящего рыцаря. С чего вдруг он решил спереть кошку?
You're such a giving heart for your brother. You might be raising a hell of a knight. Why in the world would you want to snavel a cat?
Он же совсем мелкий. Понравилось, вот и взял.
He's just a baby. He came, he saw, he conquered. There was no need telling her friend that Tony had intended to give the cat to Eva. He knew his sister wanted a pet more than anything in the world. Hence, he had made a decision to cheer her up with a toy one at least. Realizing her brother had a heart of gold, Eva smiled softly. Well, now what? They passed by Mrs. Harvest's terrace, curiously eyeing her odd dolls. Twilight made cat silhouettes look creepy, whereas their pearl-button eyes were reflecting light. I like how they're moving in the wind.
Если однажды тронусь умом, обязательно прикуплю себе домишко рядом со сквером. Соседи тут как на подбор.
In case I go crazy one day, I might definitely buy a nice crib close to the park. The neighbors here are my perfect match.
Да уж, терпеть не могу эту улицу. Она будто потерялась во времени.
Yeah,
Пойдем лучше через площадь.
I can't stand the street. It must be lost in time and space. How about going through the square? Let's go. The wind there was blowing way harsher, and the air was filled with the smell of raw wooden planks and rotten garbage. Brian fixed the backpack that had crawled down his shoulder, carrying his baseball team equipment inside. He came closer to Ashley and said,
Как же надоела эта дурацкая школа. Учителя, домашние задания, контрольные.
"Oh, Brian could be this guy then with Ashley, and this must be Michael then. I don't know. I think we'll get to that. I'm so fed up with this stupid school, all these teachers, homework tests. Is anything scary going to happen right now? It's a horror game, right? Or horror visual novel.
Но учебный год только начался.
But the studying year just got started.
Именно поэтому учиться хочется еще меньше. Нет ничего хуже первых месяцев после лета.
That's why I want to study even less. There's nothing worse than the first months at school after summer. He jumped over a puddle and gave his hand to Ashley. Yeah, that's Brian.
Это как снова надевать кроссовки, из которых вырос. Поскорей бы в колледж. Работать начну, куплю настоящую форму кетчера. Или хотя бы перчатку получше.
It's like wearing the old trainers you've already grown out of. Can't wait for college. When I start working, I'll buy real catcher's gear or at least a better glove. Well, that's, you can do that. That smile. After the Friday session, his palms still hurt. The equipment having been given to the school team left much to be desired.
Бери сразу биту. Быстрее окупится, потому что работать тебя возьмут разве что вышибалой в бар.
Better buy a slugger straight away. It'll pay off much sooner because you'll be a bouncer at this bar in the best cause. Ashley laughed at his childishness. Brian completely did not get the complexity of the world he was living in. Well, don't we all? Not
Папа
understand.
говорит, что достойную работу, как у него, без хорошего образования не найти.
Dad says that a good job like the one he has is hard to find without higher education. Whenever getting nervous or saying something important, Ashley grabbed her Leo zodiac pendant to calm herself down.
И в колледже тоже придется учиться.
College is another place to study. Hey
Этот мир
guys!
слишком жесток. Болезни, голод.
Yeah, but give me something creepy now. Maybe I'm a bit too impatient for visual novels. I don't know. First time playing it, so. This world's too cruel. Illness, starvation, school.
Мне школа нравится.
I like school though. Yeah, I know you do. Michael tried to squeeze in the conversation all the way along. He was trailing behind the rest of the guys and suspiciously glancing at bar pickups as if they could bite. He could not keep up with his friends. After he had noticed two bodily silhouettes on the front seats of an old Ford. What were they doing? Making out or killing each other? A female and a male ones. Oh! Wait, he saw that and he didn't say anything? The mutilated faces were turned towards Michael. He could have sworn he heard a hoarse, gurgling whisper. Okay, something's happening now. That's cool. At that moment, light flashed over one of the doorsteps, dispersing the blackness. Both seats appeared to be empty, as simple as that. Someone attached a hanger with a local flour mill attire on the handle near a passenger seat. Michael wiped sweat off his forehead and listened carefully to what his friends were speaking about.
Конечно. С твоими оценками, Майки, мне тоже нравилась бы школа.
Of course, Mikey. I'd love school too if I had the same scores as you.
Вот-вот.
Exactly. Quickly agreeing with Ashley, Brian squeezed her hand.
Может, тоже очки надеть? Вдруг через них домашние задания не будут казаться такими скучными.
Maybe I should wear glasses too. What if homework isn't gonna look so boring for them? They walked by the Murdoch's front garden and appeared on the street flooded with pink and blue light of store signboards.
Зря ворчите. Всего 3 года в школе осталось. А потом, представьте, совсем другая жизнь начнется. Мы и общаться, может, перестанем.
You better stop complaining. It's only 3 years left to study at school. Oh, so they're fairly young then. Just imagine, it's gonna be a completely different life after. We might stop keeping in touch ever since.
Если дружба настоящая, даже расстояние не станет помехой. Папа с друзьями из других штатов каждый день созванивается.
If friendship's real, no distance ain't a problem. That could be true. Dad calls his friends from other states every single day. But it's true that once you go to college, you'll usually separate. Gotta be a real strong friendship to keep that up. She also wanted to add that they mainly have business conversations and dispute quite often, but she considered it to be unnecessary for guys to know.
Ну, чтобы нас разлучить, Эшли, нужно что-то покруче пары кукурузных полей и границ штатов.
Well, to break you up, a couple of cornfields and state borders ain't enough.
Да при чем тут, папа Эшли, ваша любовь и кукурузные поля? Посмотрите, что вокруг происходит.
What the hell, Ashley's dad, your love, and cornfields have in common? Look around! Eva stopped and pointed in the direction of the houses swaying in the darkness.
А у нас здесь вообще происходит хоть что-то? Кажется, за последние годы самой громкой новостью был пьяный Джим, заехавший на тракторе во враг.
Is anything really happening up here? Crunk Jim, who drove a tractor into a ravine, seems to be the only breaking news over the last half a year.
Ну как же, взрослая жизнь – настоящее испытание. Люди вырастают, потом начинают жалеть, что время так быстро ушло, опять хотят в школьные годы.
Of course, adulthood is a real challenge. People grow up. Then they start to feel sorry time flew by so fast when experienced school life again. Seeking for the right word, she took a pause.
Это как вернуться в сказку, которую не ценил раньше.
It's like going back to the fairy tale you haven't been so grateful for earlier.
Это красивые слова, не больше. А посади взрослых обратно за учебники, так на следующий день взвоют. Не помню сказок, где нужно было читать стихи Уолта Уитмана. А ты, Майкл?
Just nice words, nothing more. Bring adults back to the students' books and they'll howl the next day. Can't remember any fairy tale where you had to read Walt Whitman's poetry. What about you, Michael?
Я тоже.
It's the wind. Me neither. Something scary going to happen now. Like again. Because they're talking a lot. They're friends about actually very mundane stuff, and I want to see shit hit the fan. The friends were strolling from one store to another, looking at flickering signboards. Up close, they no longer seemed bright and cheerful. They were rather fatigued and misplaced in the middle of a... What the hell? Dilapidated suburb. Okay.
Пойдем по домам? Отец сегодня на дежурстве. Но если решит перекусить дома, а меня не будет...
Let's go home, okay? Dad's on shift today, but if you want to come over to grab a bite, I ain't there. Brian scratched his neck with a finger and stuck out his tongue. Ashley laughed and punched him in the shoulder. However, Michael, trailing behind everyone, suddenly stopped and looked at the only signboard that sparkled as cheerfully and brightly as the day it had been hung on.
Зал игровых автоматов открыт. В такое время там, наверное, почти никого нет. Можно поиграть в Street Fighter.
The arcade's open, there must be no one there right now. We can play Street Fighter. Usually quiet and calm, he now bloomed. His eyes were shining with passion behind the thick grasses.
Точно. Никаких надоедливых подсказчиков, мелюзги и придурков из старших классов.
Totally, no stupid helpers, suckers, or high school jerks. I wonder, I thought visual novels would also be you as a player interacting with the story by making choices. It would have been fun if I were able to give some dialogue options to get the interaction more going, you know? The boys leaned on the dusty window with such a happy look as though they saw their idols. The girls did nothing but snorted with irritation.
Кто-то, кажется, собирался бежать домой, чтобы не отхватить пару затрещин от папочки.
Who was gonna run to the crypt to avoid daddy's slaps,
Готов рискнуть. Шанс получить по башке от отца есть всегда. А вот покидать Хадукины и не стоять в чертовой очереди к игровому автомату...
And what? I'm ready to take a risk, a chance to get kicked in the head by dad is always there? Your dad is an abusive fucker. But a chance to throw Hadokins and not wait in a freaking line for the game machine.
Немного им нужно для счастья, да?
They need so little to be happy, don't they? Well, don't you? I like arcade games. I want to play Street Fighter. Ashley took a glance at her friend.
Пусть поиграют. А вы, к слову, слышали легенду об игровом автомате, который появляется в залах сам по себе?
Let them play. By the way, did you hear a story about a game machine that appears in halls by itself? Ashley rolled her eyes. Eva's fantasies had little in common with reality.
Ты начинаешь играть и не можешь остановиться. Ту игру невозможно пройти, но ты пробуешь снова и снова, забыв про еду и туалет. Снова и снова, не вспоминая о родителях и друзьях. Снова и снова, пока...
She's telling a horror story. You start playing and cannot stop. That game is impossible to end, but you try over and over again. Forgetting about food and toilet, over and over again, not thinking of your parents or friends, over and over again, until what, Eva?
Пока у тебя не закончатся карманные деньги на завтраки. И всю оставшуюся неделю ты сидишь на уроках голодным и злым из-за своей тупости.
Until you run out of allowance of breakfast and stay hungry for the rest of the week cause you're dumb. Michael peeled away from the glass and adjusted his lopsided glasses. Well, let's go outside!
Но этот автомат не так страшен, если у тебя и так нет карманных денег. Войдем?
Well, this cabinet isn't this scary if you got no allowance. How about getting in?
Господи, они смотрят на нас, как собаки на миску с кормом.
Gosh, they're looking at us like dogs do at a bowl of food. Ashley waved her hands imperiously.
Нам страшновато одним идти домой по такой темени. Но если выиграете 100 билетов, приз выберем мы с Евой.
Well, it's creepy to go home when it's so dark outside. But in case you win 100 tickets, Eve and I were gonna pick a prize. Act 2, it's high time for games. Is it? I wonder how long the demo is. The spacious room was stuffy, filled with strong odors of hot plastic and pungent berry freshness. Yeah.
Запах бездарно потраченного времени.
Smells just like my usually wasted time.
Нет. в
The
школе
music,
пахнет
so
по-другому.
much arcade music, as if it smells different at school. Samples from screensavers and sounds of demo walkthroughs created a terrible cacophony. No wonder the cashier, bored at the plastic counter, shielded himself from the noise with greasy headphones cushions. There was nobody inside except for the staff member, yet the floor was peppered with some garbage like crumpled soda cans and chocolate bar wrappings. 30 minutes were left before closure. At this hour, local kids could be hanging out here only during summer holidays. Game Boy! Good Game Boy here. This is 90s, I think it feels like it. I mean, they weren't... Because this guy would be playing on a smartphone if it was right here, right now, you know? He wouldn't have been bored. But he's listening to music or something like that. The hall was stuffed with diverse video game machines. Game names were glowing on signboards in an intriguing manner. Okay. Again and again, the cuts of deliberately failed attempts to beat the level were flashing by on the screens. The boys started searching for the most interesting and desired game. Donkey Kong! Donkey Kong. I can, oh, okay. Street Fighter. Well, let's go Street Fighter then. Street Fighter! Ryu and Ken froze on the signboard, ready to jump each other. This one is the best out of all games which has ever been in this hall. The floor around the arcade machine is brightly polished with every age. School guys, sneakers. Okay. I can't. Galaga! Formerly, it was one of the most famous games. Now this veteran arcade cabinet is used only while the others are busy, and with all, a couple of truly insane nerds tried to break the record. Of some lily red twice or thrice a month, however unsuccessfully. Oh, I thought we could play. You can see a leaderboard here. Elliot Davis is the best. Zoe and Jessie are also there. Go girls! Donkey Kong, an arcade golden oldie. The game machine is ancient and in poor condition. The signboard is barely flickering. One of the buttons is cracked.
Вот он!
It's over here! Temporarily out of order. No cashier! Cannot fix it. There's a cashier! The boys ran towards the game machine. A cardboard with a harshly blood-curdling writing was stuck on the screen. Temporarily out of order. No cashier. Cannot fix it.
Боже, почему ты так несправедлив?
God, why are you so unjust?
Какой у задротов бог? Вот эта мартышка с бочонком в лапах?
What god do computer nerds have? This monkey with a barrel in its paws? Brian grumbled something in response, and Michael slowly shrugged.
Мастер приедет не раньше следующего вторника. Так что выберите другую игру, ребятки. Попробуйте Road Blasters. Самые новые у нас.
A technician's gotta come not earlier than next Tuesday, so go choose another game, buddies. Try Road Blasters. It's the freshest here. The cashier pointed at the brand new arcade cabinet, which displayed a car, blown up just now and drowned in a fairly pixel cloud.
Нет.
What kind of game is that? Dang it! Michael's voice trembled. He seldom let himself demonstrate such emotions, so Brian decided to support his friend.
А что еще есть? Без машин.
What else have you got without cars? Some kind of horror game that comes alive when we play it.
Тогда предложу вкуснейшую акцию. Если попадете в таблицу топ-5 Pumpkin Man, получите двойной приз.
Then I've got all that and a bag of chips for ya. If you're in the top 5 Pumpkin Man table, you'll win a double prize. He nodded towards the counter.
Ладно, в этот хлам почти никто не играет. Так что у нас неплохие шансы на рекорд.
No one really plays his trash. Then we got a shot at setting a record. Kitty! Grey Cat was laughing on a chair next to another game machine. She captured the girl's attention. Oh, we cannot play the game? Of Pac-Man? The 4 letters were shining on a pink color. Lucy!
Какая прелесть!
So sweet! Oh, now I can do something! Now I can interact with the cat. Do that. The cat flattens her ears and grumbles. She likes that?
Ставлю $5 на то, что она отвыкла от непотных ладоней, от которых не воняет сырными снеками.
I'm betting $5 she forgot how clean palms with no cheese snack stink feels.
Люси похожа на кошку, которую мама пыталась нарисовать в прошлом месяце.
Lucy looks pretty much like the cat mom. Like the cat mom was trying to draw last month.
Дай-ка угадаю. На картине у кошки были жвала и пара щупалец?
Why are the girls so stereotypically standing here while the guys are playing games? Why are not the girls playing games too? That would be cool. Let me guess, the cat had mandibles and a pair of tentacles in the drawings.
Ох, если бы только у кошки. Она лишь часть фона. Мама рисует людей. Как, сама знаешь.
I wish only the cat had. She's just a part of the background. Mom draws people. You know yourself how. As you knew and therefore preferred not to recall those drawings once again. What is so bad? Meanwhile, the boys approach a Pumpkin Man coin-operated cabinet. Instead of usual Mr. or Mrs. Pac-Man, a bright orange pumpkin was flying around heart levels and eating liquorized candies. Ew. The display was burning the eyes of poisonous shades, whereas a bunch of colorful bloods were chasing the voracious
Как
pumpkin.
думаешь, это призраки?
Are these ghosts? What you think? Michael cast an attentive glance at the signboard.
Здесь нарисован охотник, который стреляет в тыкву из ружья.
There's a hunter firing the pumpkin with a shotgun.
Тогда это неупокоенные души охотников.
These are uneasy hunters' souls then.
Отлично. Поскорее дайте им поймать тыкву, и все будут счастливы. Охотники в могилах, мы дома.
Awesome, let it catch the pumpkin and everyone's gonna be happy. The hunters are in graves, we're home. Decisively, Brian took another handful of coins out of his pocket and threw them in the coin up a scepter.
Домой? Без призов? Нет, пока не обчистим прилавок, я отсюда не уйду.
Back home with no prize? I ain't leaving unless we empty out the counter. The cashier shivered fearfully. Oh, well, don't you have like half an hour left before closing time?
Закрываемся через полчаса.
Well, I think like in 20 minutes now, right? I mean, time has to still pass. We're closing in half an hour. Brian winked at Michael and added softly.
Тогда у него останется еще 15 минут, чтобы поплакать над пустым прилавком.
Then he's gonna have 50 more minutes to cry over his empty counter. I don't think he'll cry about that. Are we gonna play now? Oh, yes. Oh, wait. Ah, like that? Am I actually doing anything? Yes, I am actually doing anything. But he will just go... Okay. Okay, I can do that. Eat a candy. Eat all the candy. This is working. I like that we can play this now. We're actually having a, yeah. Oh, what are you guys doing? Oh, okay, getting away from me. That's fine. You're making it easy for me. We can do this. Oh, another level! Ooh. You guys are seeing me play Pac-Man. This is much of a horror game! Give me more horror! I want to be terrified! Well, I am a little bit terrified because I am a pumpkin going after ghosts or something. I'll come back when you're not there anymore. I want to get all your candy. I'm stealing all your candy. Oh, we did it?
Так.
That's it. Give me
Давай сюда
tickets,
билеты,
you
никчемная
piece
железяка.
of stupid iron. Fine. The cabinet pushed out 50 tickets that could be exchanged for an interesting thing.
Молодчина, Майкл. Играл как зверь.
Good job, Michael. You played like a beast. I played like a beast.
Ты тоже справился куда лучше, чем сегодня на уроке химии. Не уверен, что смог бы пройти тот уровень, где призраков больше, чем конфет.
You two did a lot better than the chemistry class today. Not sure I could have completed the level where a ghost succeeded. Caddies. Brian looked around with a self-satisfied smile on his face. To his disappointment, there were no girls in the hall to celebrate his triumph. They were just coming out of the bathroom and discussing something. Oh, the stereotype! Please! In the next game, change one of the guys with the girls.
Вы такое пропустили?
You missed such a great thing!
На площадь сел космический шаттл? Нет? Тогда не вижу повода для бурной радости.
Did a space shuttle land on the square? No, then I don't see any reason for such delirious joy. Brian pointed at the long reel of tickets Michael was holding.
Это покруче любого шаттла. Давайте поскорее выберем приз.
It's way cooler than any shuttle. Let's go. High time we picked a prize. The cashier wasn't around. Only at the closet entrance a curtain made of decorative bamboo was slowly swaying. Finally! Something's gonna happen! All of a sudden, the hall seemed surprisingly empty. So I won a prize, and I can't cash it because the cashier is gone.
Куда он подевался?
Where did he go? The thumping music. Dum 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 dum.
Не знаю.
I don't know. Brian carefully came to the counter and knocked on the table with the knuckles. They heard someone shabbling behind the bamboo curtains. Someone made a loud breath out and froze. The game machines were beeping unceasingly. The signboard lights became strangely weak, while the devouring darkness sneaked into the hall. It's as if I'm reading you guys a book.
Эй, здесь кто-нибудь есть?
Hello? Anybody here? No reply followed.
Ладно, пойдем по домам. Не хочу ждать этого фрика.
Alright! Let's bounce! I don't want to wait for this freak. That was funny, man! The cashier took off his mask and laughed out loud. Ah, you're funny.
Видели бы вы свои лица.
If only you could see your faces. Okay, this was a fun jump scare.
Мы даже не вскрикнули. Посредственный розыгрыш.
Oh, I made a sound. We didn't even make a sound. What a flat prank. The cashier grimaced as though he had sipped lemon juice.
Тоже мне критики.
You critics!
Ладно, выбирайте приз.
Alright,
У вас приличная.
pick a prize to see your reel's pretty long. I'm going with the Game Boy. What is this? The wildest boys' dreams. Wonder how long you're supposed to play with this many tickets. Gimme! I can't. What is unavailable? Prize for Michael unavailable. Everything is unavailable. The only thing I can do is win a prize for Michael. This is so stereotypically nerdy gift, but okay. A good but hard puzzle Michael loves such things. He's most likely to solve it within 50 minutes. Well, let's go with this then. A good but hard puzzle, yeah, okay.
Предлагаю наградить лучшего игрока сегодняшнего вечера. Майкл, хочешь кубик? Он прикольный, я таких не видел.
Let's award the best gamer of the night. Michael, do you want the cube? Looks fly. Never seen anything like this before. Look at Eva looking at his mask. I bet you she was scared. Michael nodded in a shy way. He's not used to getting anything on the first try.
Девчонки, вы не
Girls, don't you mind? Eva was gazing at a massacre Leatherface mask stretched over a jar of cheap sausages in a marinade and seemed to forget about everything happening around her.
Да здесь и выбрать-то больше нечего. Я рассмотрела коробку из-под шара. Дешевая подделка. В нем маловато ответов. И теперь есть шары куда круче и
There's nothing
интереснее.
else to choose between. I took a look at the magic
Давайте
ball
уже
box.
уберемся отсюда куда подальше.
It was a shoddy fake. It got very few answers. Modern balls are way cooler and more interesting. Take it, Mike, and let's get out of here. The cashier grabbed the tickets and threw the cube to Michael, who was smiling.
За остаток билетов могу дать вам еще кое-что.
I'm gonna give you something for the rest of the tickets. He elevated a cassette from the shelf and clicked on it with his finger.
Никто не знает, что на нее записано. Просто однажды нашел ее в зале.
No one knows what's recorded here. Once I just found it in a hall. We're getting a videotape! Are you going all the ring on me? Like is some Sadako coming out of the television like 7 days? That would be funny. Brian took a look at his friends. Michael was twisting the cube with such a great involvement that he could not hear what the cashier was offering.
То есть, вместо добавочного приза вы отдаете чужую кассету?
You mean you're gonna give us somebody's cassette instead of an additional prize? What if there's porn on there, or some creepy, a murder show or something? Give it to me. Not because of the porn, but because there could be something very scary on it, and I want to see that. But Eva, having finished examining the mask, took the prize swiftly and hid it in her bag. Eva is curious.
Супер! Мы в большом плюсе.
Booyah! We got an extra profit. Brian grimaced when looking at the cashier who was hiding the tickets into his wallet.
Кажется, нас изрядно облапошили.
We seem to get screwed.
Это странная и таинственная кассета. Неужели тебе мало?
It's a strange and mysterious cassette. Isn't it enough? As if teasing, the lights from game machines gleamed accurately on the coveted Game Boy pack.
Мало.
No, it's not! They moved towards the exit. Actually, a bad sign. The majority of signboards were already off. The darkness of night extricated the tickets. The tickets? What? The tickets, deep basements and narrow alleys. It splashed out onto the square, plunging it into darkness. Only a few parked pickups and bicycles tied up with locked cables were seen next to Marshall Sue's bar. The wind was sweeping over the fields, the element, used to playing with harvesters' corn, now moaned, immersing the suburb into melancholy. Okay, guys, I want to see what's on the tape, so show me.
Кажется, мы припозднились. Бабушка и дедушка будут недовольны, когда я вернусь.
Well, we seem to be late. Granny and Grandpa will be upset with my late comeback.
Тогда ты ничего не потеряешь, если сделаешь это чуточку позже.
Then nothing worse will happen if you come back a bit later.
Ну, Майк, покажешь класс? Вы бы видели, что он творил, настоящий повелитель тыквы.
Go on, Mike, show us what you got. If only you saw what he was doing, a hella pumpkin master. Humble Michael took out his Rubik's cube and turned several faces with a ringing click.
Потрясающе. На что еще потратим время? Предлагаю переливать воду из школьного фонтанчика в реку.
Nice, what else are we gonna waste our time on? How about pouring water from the school fountain into the river? Ashley, you're a cynical girl. Rapidly, Eva pulled out a cassette and demonstrated it to her friends. Well, let's go look at this tape.
Вот на это время точно стоит потратить. Как думаете, на ней фильм или мультики?
Something's worth our time. What you think? Is it gonna be a movie or a cartoon here? Or a ghost coming out of your television? Disappointed in a dull Rubik's Cube, Brian glimpsed at additional prize.
Надеюсь, что-то интересное. Хотя больше похоже на то, что какой-то маньяк записал свои зверства и поспешил поделиться ими с народом.
I really hope it's gonna be something worthy, yet it looks like a maniac recorded their harassment and couldn't wait to make it public.
И воняет от нее жутко.
And it whiffs disgustingly. Nobody knew why. Eva sniffed the cassette and handed it to Ashley. The girl grimaced in response.
Брай?
Bry? Why is everyone sniffing like... Ah, such a nice tape. He could not detect any old plastic odor. Instead, it produced a stench of lake silt. Acidic rust, stagnant water, wax leather with a mixture of sweat? The odors were mixing in the most unimaginable way, and each of them could be caught without any difficulty.
Это странно.
Well, that's one way to put it. This is weird.
Вот и я о том же. Надо посмотреть, что...
That's what I'm talking about. We gotta see what's... Michael, what you doing? At that particular moment, Michael screamed and swore. Her friend spun to him. Michael shook his index finger and put it into his mouth.
Если кубик не сахарный, то странно именно это, а не запахи кассеты.
If the cube ain't made of sugar, that's totally weird. Not the cassette stings.
Что случилось, Майк?
What happened, Mike? The boy hid the cube into his pockets and forced a smile. His face was covered in sweat. His eyes were dancing anxiously. Did he see another ghost or something?
Защемил палец только и всего. Неудачно повернул ось.
It's all good, just pinched my finger, turned the face the wrong way. Now it's getting excited. I think the game started a bit too slow, for me at least.
Помяни мое слово. В месте, где не чинят игровой автомат со Street Fighter, не знают, что такое хорошая игрушка и веселье. Предлагаю бросить кубик под тягач Абрахама.
Mark my
Представляете,
words.
как разлетятся детали.
A place where Street Fighters never repaired doesn't know what a good toy and fun mean. How about throwing the cube, another Abrams tow truck, Oh, under Abraham's tow truck. Just imagine the details fly apart.
Это будет невероятно! Думаю, Стивен Спилберг обязательно снимет фильм об этом событии. В общем, это я к чему? День и так был безумным и бестолковым.
I don't like Ashley.
Разойтись по домам.
I don't like her. It's gonna be incredible. I'm 110% sure Steven Spielberg is gonna shoot a movie about this fantastic event. I mean, this day was crazy and a waste of time. Isn't it about time to go home? Just go home if you're bored. Nobody disagreed, so the company went to the newest district of the town. It did not have such junk as the park did, and families living there were comparatively wealthy. Ashley's house was the first one on the way, so the friends stopped by a decorative fence. The only light was on in her parents' bedroom on the second floor, which meant Ashley had to make dinner herself and have it cold.
Эш, у тебя же есть старый видеоплеер в сарае?
Ash, you have an old video player in your shed, don't you?
Предлагаешь посмотреть кассету? Ну, это могло хотя бы немного сделать вечер интереснее, но нашим парням, насколько помню, пора домой.
Shall we watch the cassette? Could make our evening a little better, but as far as I remember, our boys gotta go home. Instead of answering, Brian jumped over the fence and emotionally began to wait for his friends. We're not going anywhere, we're gonna watch the tape.
Майкл, а ты?
Well, I do hope it's not gonna be a lot of long conversation about dinner and other stuff before they watch the tape. I mean, put in the tape and watch it. Michael nodded and quickly caught up with Brian.
Собрал кубик?
Did you solve the cube?
Нет, завтра попробую еще раз.
No, I'll try again tomorrow.
Что на пленке.
Let's check what's on the tape. He should have started doing his homework long ago instead of wandering along the streets. Perhaps his grandmother was about to call the police and demand to search for grandson. However, little did he want to go back home. Michael had a look at his finger. The wound was still bleeding out. The nail and the flesh seemed to have been cut with a sharp edge. The worst part was the feeling of the cube growing right beside Michael's pocket. The cube is grown? The very cube which harshly pinched his finger. The very cube which has bloody fingerprints on it. What is going on? The very cube which shoved a pattern invisible before. Or showed off a pattern invisible before. 4 curved letters. Then the pattern disappeared as if it had never been there.
Чего встали?
That's
Пойдем
spooky.
в сарай и поглядим, что за запись мы раздобыли.
What is happening to him? Come on, let's go to the shed and check what kind of recording we got. Act for a comfy place. A comfy place? Really? According to the friend's opinion, the shed was the best and coziest place in the whole suburb. But that day, they were not alone in the shelter. Chris, Ashley's older brother, was there too. He was laying on a time-worn carpet and playing a new Sega Genesis. Ooh. Ashley just remembered her brother was punished for coming home crunk after another party. He was not allowed to meet his friends for a month. Some of his buddies seemed to have lent him the dope video game console so that Chris would not get bored home alone. When the front door squeaked, he automatically hid a red Marlboro pack underneath the pillow.
Школота. Я уж думал, это папаня заявился, чтобы снова прогнать телегу о том, как правильно жить. И что вы тут забыли?
It's you suckers.
Показать друзьям истинные сокровища нашего
I
семейства.
thought Daddy showed up and was about to teach me again how to live this life. What you doing up there? Baby Ashley decided to show your true family treasures. Wow. It looks fine. Nice shed. All furniture was living out its days in the shed. Unnecessary equipment was covered in dust. Some other small stuff was stored there since everyone was too lazy to get rid of it. Ashley's family was rich enough not to sell all the junk, so a lot had been stuffed into the shed. Okay. Oh, I can look at everything. The arcade punk video game console produced by Atari, Ashley's father would play it as a teenager. The Omni controller has been broken long ago, as well as the console itself. Chris's, Ashley's brother's punching bag, the sports gear is out of shape. Someone must have thrown hatchets and darts at the bag. The scarecrow from the Bennett's field. It is funny. Ashley asked her brother to steal it after the Bennett's youngest daughter had lost her doll. It is hard to believe, but Ava claimed the scarecrow to be moving. Mirror. The antique mirror. Little Ashley loved looking in it and imagining herself to be a Disney princess. Barely did Eva notice the mirror. She immediately decided that Bloody Mary, if she meant to come to the world, would 110% come out of it. Okay, nothing else, right? Except this one. The old motorbike. About 3 years ago, when Ashley and Brian had not dated yet, he had saddled it up and driven into the creek. Ashley had burst into laughter, and Brian had been banned from visiting Ashley's house. It seemed the ban was still not lifted. Okay. Gonna smoke in here with all of us? Chris took the pack and pulled out a cigarette with his teeth. You're trying to be all badass on us. A thought to remember this trick crossed Brian's mind. It looked thrilling. Brian doubted his trick would be as natural as Chris's, but it was worth a little practice too.
А ты разве не должен сидеть в своей комнате и изображать раскаяние?
Don't you have to stay in your room and post penance?
Ты вообще-то уже третий сон должна видеть.
What about
А не бродить
you?
по темным улицам. Хочешь потягаться со мной в том, кто сильнее разочарует предков?
Shouldn't you be catching Z's instead of wandering around dark streets? Or you want to compete in who's gonna disappoint parents most? He exhaled a ring of blue smoke, making it clear who the winner was. Oh, that smile. You're such a fucker, man.
Нет, я-то думаю о своем будущем. Просто мы хотели посмотреть кассету. Будь так любезен, освободи ненадолго телевизор.
No, I do care about my future. We just wanted to watch a cassette. Be so kind. Go do something else for a bit. We need a TV.
Еще чего. Проваливайте по домам, детишки.
As if. Go home, kids. He turned to the TV screen and continued to play. Oh, now we can do something. I wish there was more with this. Persuade him. He wants to look at the thing too, right? Wait, how do I? Oh, I can't press the other one. I can only do this. Why can I only use one option? Why can't I choose only one option if there are two choices in my screen? Is it because of the demo? I actually did not mean to step back.
Тогда меняй телевизор на важную информацию. Важную для тебя, братец.
Then I'll exchange the television for some important info. Important for you, bro.
Предлагай.
Go on. He was still looking at the screen through smoke clouds and dynamically clicking on the gamepad buttons.
Мы встретили твоих дружков, Сэм и Бобби, кажется. Они спрашивали, не отменили ли родители наказание и сильно сожалели, что ты не сможешь
You
составить им
stumbled on your cronies, Sam and Bobby, right? They were asking if your punishment was over and said they were so upset you couldn't keep them company. Chris took a careful look at his sister. Sam and Bobby were real douchebags. Lots of rumors about their wicked deeds were flying around the town. Ashley knew her brother was afraid of the guys, but still did everything to squeeze into their gang and constantly treated them with drinks and cigarettes.
Думаешь, я куплюсь на это?
You think I'm gonna buy it?
Но это правда. Я тоже видела их возле старой водонапорной башни. Кажется, они собирались угнать мотоцикл у Пэма
But it's
и
true!
поехать на мукомольный завод.
I also saw them near the old water tower. It seemed they were going to steal Pam's motorbike and ride it to the flour mill factory. I want to see that. Chris jumped up and almost burned his fingers with a cigarette.
Zачем, черт побери, им понадобился завод?
Why the hell did they need a factory? Chris knew his sister could make up any nonsense on the spot to take advantage of it, but to be honest, he trusted Eva. He thought her to be a good girl, unable to lie. She lies now.
Дедушка рассказывал, что водители тягачей иногда тайно привозят на завод бурбон в канистрах. И многие местные покупают его в ночную смену. Лучший бурбон, какой можно достать в нашем штате. Так он говорил.
Grandpa says tow truck drivers sometimes get bourbon in cans secretly to the factory, and many locals buy it during night shifts. The best bourbon can get in our state. Oh, the best bourbon you can get in our state. That's what he says.
Но покупать выпивку эти парни точно не станут, а вот спереть... это было бы весело.
They're not gonna buy the drink, but steal it. Haha, that would be much fun. Well, go Chris, bye! He broke in his sneakers and hurried to the door. Finally, he looked over his shoulder and promised.
Смотри, очкарик, если вы меня надули, вместо следующей боксерской груши я подвешу на крюк твою задницу.
Watch
Тебя
out,
это не касается.
Four Eyes. If you're trying to dish me, your ass gonna be my punching bag next time. Eva, you're not counted. Oh, you're not counted. Chris laughed and Michael wiped sweat off his cold forehead. Okay, at least there was some conflict here. Some drama. some kind of obstacle and an antagonist that we have to get rid of to get to the television. So that was fun.
Он же не станет меня колотить. Не станет ведь?
He's gonna punch me, is he? Is he, guys? He's probably gonna punch us, yeah.
Это ж брат Эшли, а не отморозок из старших классов, отбирающий у детей деньги.
It's Ashley's brother, not a damn high schooler Riverwood gets cheddar. Ashley would not really agree with this. Chris changed lately. He had done sports, never smoked or followed downright idiots before. So he changed. Why?
Ну что, за дело?
So let's start, okay? Yeah! Put it in the video player! Eva looked over the moon. The cassette was not the only reason for it.
Включай, Брайан.
Turn it on, Brian! Wait, the cassette was not the only reason for it? Why? Brian changed the TV to AV mode and inserted the cassette into the cassette player. Static noise danced on the screen, curved and covered in dust. A soft hiss came from the speakers, followed by a squeak.
Надеюсь, она не пустая. Иначе Майкла поколотят просто так.
Hope the tape's not blank, otherwise Michael will be beaten for no reason. Oh, she was not getting beat. Ah, that's it. So she was safe. She felt safe. She was like, okay, you guys get beat. I won't. Michael shivered and began to look around as if furious Chris was already creeping towards him with his fist raised to strike.
Она не может быть пустой. Садитесь поскорее, чтобы ничего не пропустить.
It can't be blank. Hurry up. Take your seat so you don't miss anything. Well, Eva settled down in one of the pillows, and her friends followed her example. The TV continued flickering, interfering with the peace of the shed. The wind got out of the fields and descended to the suburb, sneaking through the streets like a wild animal. Looking for its prey, it leaned on the shed, making it sway, creak, and click like a popping joint. Like a popping joint! The light of the only lamp in the shed could not handle the shadows, beaming at the piles of garbage in the corners.
А тут есть еще светильники?
Is there any other light in here? Michael was left unanswered because the screen eventually showed a picture. Bleak and grey static stripes created an image, acquired colors and shapes. One part became studio walls. Other one changed into decorations suitable for some Friday night show. Ooh, those left developed the body of a host, wearing a striped suit jacket. He was half turned and stared at the camera, as if waiting for a director's sign to start, or probably trying to see the audience on the other side of the screen.
По крайней мере, это точно не маньяк.
He's not a maniac, at least. Well, we don't know that.
Я бы не торопилась с выводами.
I wouldn't make fast decisions. The music of an invisible orchestra burst out, regardless. Each of the musicians should have been whipped for their miserable performance and never allowed to get close to musical instruments again.
Приветствую вас, дорогие зрители.
Welcome to the show, everybody. What kind of show? Oh! Well, guess we're not gonna find out now. Congratulations, you have completed the demo version of the game Pink Noise. As you might have guessed, the full game offers you a great variety of choices. Have I guessed that? I haven't guessed. So all the plot twists will be up to you. We are genuinely grateful for your interest in the project and your time spent playing. Don't forget to subscribe to our social media and stay tuned for upcoming news. See you soon. Well, I wish in the demo version we could have give us more choices. I was a bit bored actually because I didn't have anything to do. Just because it's a demo doesn't mean you cannot show me what the full game would be like with a great variety of choices. They could have done that better. I mean, it's supposed to be a horror game, but I didn't find that scary. There were a few scary moments, which I liked, but I felt like the story went on a bit too long. Especially in the beginning, it was like telling me about everything about the environment and stuff like that. And I mean, it's a novel, so I get it. You have that in a novel, and it's a visual novel, so everything is made visual. But I was like, at least give me some more interaction, because a visual novel is also about interaction, right? And didn't see much interaction. So I do hope that in the full game there will be more interaction. I wish they could have showed up more in the demo, because right now I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna buy the game. I'm a bit doubted about that. And even though it's supposed to be a horror visual novel, I didn't really see much of the horror yet. So it did have some scary vibes, some dark vibes sometimes, but I don't know, it didn't really grab me. You know, it didn't really grab me. The characters were also a bit too stereotypical. You've got the nerd, you've got the jock, you've got the cynical girl, and you've got the smart girl that makes the right choices, you know, who's the decent girl. I mean, it was just stereotypical. Even the voice, not the voices, the names were stereotypical. The girls not playing on the arcades, the guys playing on the arcade, because why? I don't play around with stereotypes more, you know? It was a bit of cliche. The characters are a bit cliche. I don't really see them being all standing out. I am curious about the story though. I am curious about the guy, the host of the show on the tape, so I would want to know more about that, but I'm also gonna tell you up straight, it depends on how much the game is going to cost if we're gonna play this game all the way to the end. But I hope you guys liked it, and I hope you guys liked, I don't know, seeing me play a visual novel was my first time. And if you want to say something about the game or me playing it, or maybe you want to see me play more visual novels, I don't know, let me know in the comments. Subscribe if you want to see more of me playing games. I don't usually play visual novels, so look at my library first before you subscribe, you know, so that you know what kind of games I play, what I do beside this game, this visual novel. And I hope to see you again next week or next time with a new game. En as ze zeggen in the Netherlands, dankjewel, tot ziens, tot de volgende keer. Doei!